And my name is Emelie Ågren, and I work as a strategic planning officer in Västerås municipality. And I thought that I should start by speaking a little bit about, okay, not that button, Västerås. Västerås is the 6th largest town in Sweden, and we have approximately 145,000 people living in Västerås. And we are located about 100 kilometers east of Stockholm. And we have a tradition with engineers and technology and so on. And a little bit about our elderly care. We have approximately 3,000 people who are receiving home care. We have 800 apartments in nursing homes, and we have about 1,500 persons who receive home health care.
Can you take
A little bit down? Better?
No.
No?
No, not better.
Not better?
Up or down. There it is.
Now?
Now it's better.
Yes? Västerås has been working with welfare technology. As we heard before, Sweden is a bit slow in this area comparing to our neighbors. But Västerås have been working with welfare technology since 2006. The first projects that we had were in people's own home, in the home care system. In 2013, the political committee in Västerås decided, is it really sounding good? No.
I try and help you.
Yeah, try and help me.
I turn you on again.
Is that better?
Try again.
Does anybody hear me now? Is it okay now?
Go.
No? Okay. So, 2013, the politicians decided that it was time to take welfare technology into the nursing home. And we started out with one unit that to try welfare technology. And that was Klockarkärlekens äldreboende. Very good Swedish word. So this is Klockarkärlekens äldreboende, and it's a nursing home for people diagnosed with dementia. It's not a new house, and it's not a very old house either. It was built in the early 90s. So I would say that it's pretty much a typical Swedish nursing home. To give you some of the background how the conditions on Klockarkärleken was before the project started. It has 39 apartments located on 3 floors with a stairwell separating the wards. So it's 6 people living on one side and 7 on the others, with the stairwell, with the elevator and the stairs in the middle, separating the wards. They had an old alarm system, and we often refer to it as a stupid alarm system. It basically, what it could do, you could push the button and then your code, like 222, came up, but it was not able to tell where in the building I was. So the alarm system was based on the fact that I should stay in my apartment, because then the nurses would know where I was. We had code locks. The doors to the wards were locked, and there were code locks to the wards, which is a very typical thing in Sweden to have. I don't know how you have it, but it's very typical in Sweden. And we always have little signs with the digits over the locks, but when you're suffering from dementia, you often loses your ability to understand and write both letters and numbers. So they were, in fact, locked in.
In Denmark, we call it a jail.
Yeah, but it basically is a jail, and you should say that you have this with all good intentions, because the purpose of it is to protect and care for the people living there, but the result, as you all know, is often aggression, anxiety, and so on. And I think that we all would react the same way if we were locked in. Even if we were sick and locked in, we would react in the same way. And now I'm going to give you a little tour on how it looked at Klockarkärleken before the project started. And this is the entrance, clearly marked with blue, and you can see through the windows there. Here we have like the entrance hall, and here you can see the doors are closed. And here we have a little painting on the wall, but it's quite gray, I would say. Here we have the entrance to the garden, and you can also wondering what do we use the house for, because you can see a lot of office stuff. Is it a home, or is it decorated for the people working there or for the people living there? You don't think garden, perhaps, when you see that. Here we have the stairwell, very white and sterile, and also the closed door. And then we have the very famous thing, who are going to protect you from going down with the wheelchair. And here you have the other ward, still very gray, a lot of doors that can confuse you if you are suffering from dementia. Here we have another view. Yeah, I think you get the picture. It was gray and it was white. And here we have the famous code lock. Here, even without the little sign with the code, but we had the code signs, but yes. And here we have also inside the ward. Yes? So what did we do during the project? We installed a new modern alarm system with the opportunities for individual settings. We tried GPS alarms, so people, the clients could move outside the building in a more safe and secure way. And our goal when we decided to install the alarm system was that we were going to open the doors. The clients living in this home were going to get the opportunity to move around freely in their own home, which are their right. But as you could see, this is a home for people with dementia, and it looks almost the same everywhere. So we quickly discovered that we needed to adapt the living environment to make it a more nice place to be in, and to make it easier to locate yourself in the house. So what we did was that we gave each floor a color. So here are the entrance hall. As you can see, got the green color. And now you can see that the doors are opened, which they now are during the day. At night time we close them. They are not locked, but we close them. And we were thinking, like, how do we do it in our own homes? We don't have our doors wide open during the night. We close them and we lock them. And that's a natural thing. We also wanted to create an environment where you could meet, because our goal was to get the clients out of the ward. So we wanted to create a nice house where you wanted to stay, because our goal wasn't that they were gonna go out and wanted to go out and leave the house. We wanted them to enjoy the house and the garden surrounding the house. And so one way of trying to get them to stay in the house was to not draw attention to the main entrance, which we've done here. So now we have painted it white and frosted the glass. And the glass was also a matter of integrity, because when people, when they were allowed to move around the house, we didn't want create the opportunity so people could stand outside and watch them. In the same address, you don't have full glass in the doors to your house, because you perhaps don't want people standing there and looking at you when you're at home. So for integrity reasons, we frosted the glass. And that's, here you can see also that you had taken away all the office furniture, and instead we have clothes nearby, jackets and so on, if you wanted to go out. We also installed a little thing that when you are close to the door, bird songs comes, so trying to draw attention to go out in the garden and stay in the garden. A big, here is one of the wards in the first floor, I think. A big concern for the staff and for the staff working at Klockarkärleken was the stairs. They were very, very afraid that people would fall in the stairs. They were afraid that they would fall, and they were afraid that they would escape, as they said in the beginning. And that was also a thing that we had to work with, because it's perhaps children escape from their parents and prisoners escape. Adult person doesn't escape from their own home. It's a matter of thinking, but yeah, I think you all recognize it. But a big concern was that they would fall in the stairs, and they had a lot of discussion about glass doors and all different kind of solutions. But we ended up with gates that you can't push them forward, but you can push them so you can go. So you can move in the stairs. And we also painted them blue so they would be easy to see. We also tried to make it nice and stay so that you had somewhere when you got out of the ward, so you have a place to sit and to meet new people. And here we have another one. We also tried to, here you can see we have put like bookshelf wallpaper on the doors, trying to take away, because all the, trying to think what's important for the people who's living there. The nurse expedition and other offices are not, that's not where the people living there should go. They are not in need of that, that's for the staff. So that's why we put wallpaper on the doors, and also put books in the middle in case you want to have real books. And that's the other, at the other direction, and still you can see open doors. And here also then we marked in the elevator. They took nail polish and painted the buttons in the elevator to make it easy. So instead of just white buttons, we now have a green button, we have a blue, and we have a red one. And also marked where you are and where you need to go to get into the garden. Also, we were a bit fortunate, because here our money we didn't have any money left. The money we had was just enough to fix the stairwells. But then we had like water damage, do you say that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we had to renovate inside the ward, and then we got the opportunity to paint colors at the doors, also making it more easy to locate yourself at the ward. We also worked with the signs. I don't know if you saw it on the before picture, but then we had a picture, kind of like a kindergarten picture with a car, I think it was on that one, sitting up high. And you can, here we have the people who are living here are people who are sitting in wheelchairs, so it's on their height, and we have taken away the kindergarten approach. So what was the result? The result was, I could say that when we started and when we were opening the doors, everyone was very, very nervous. And they had made a schedule. It's 3 different floors, and they have made a schedule about in the order they were going to open the wards. And it was like from the beginning, like 2-hour shifts. And there was a plan on, I think it was during 2 weeks they were going to open the wards. And the staff was really, really concerned, and they were worried. And it ended up with the manager having to have a meeting and saying that I take full responsibility for this. Just so you know, if anything happened, I take full responsibility for this, because the nurses and the assistants working were really, really nervous about what was going to happen when they opened the door. So what happened when they opened the door? Nothing happened. You can say. No, but they had this schedule about how they were going to open the doors, and they soon discovered that they could shorten the schedule down because nothing happened. But the first day that they were going to have the door open for the whole day, the manager was also very nervous, perhaps not showing it for the staff, but she was really nervous. So she took in a replacement actually to guard the stairwell to see if anyone, just so that no one would fall in the stairs. I think that was what she was most scared of. So she had an extra person standing there guarding and watching the stairwell. And after 4 hours, she came in to her and said, like, what do you want me to do? Because nothing is happening. And she was like, nothing is happening. But what do you mean, nothing is happening? Yes, she says, yeah, there are people walking. They are walking out of the door. They are looking around, and then they go back. or perhaps they are walking and going into the other ward. Nothing else happens. And this is starting to get boring. And she was more like, can I do something else? And she was, no, you have to watch the stairwell. And after like 6 hours, she was like, can I please do something else now? Because it's nothing is happening still. And then she said, okay, and she could go and do something else. And to this date, we have been open now for a year and a half. No one has fallen in the stairs, and no one has gone out and not, and they have all returned. We're not missing a single one of them. But what we do have is a much more calmer atmosphere. Before the project, the staff put in a lot of effort trying to put the clients together for social activities, trying to guess who could benefit from talking to another, and so on. And when we opened the doors, we found out that we were very, very wrong, because perhaps people who had lost their speech could communicate and become friends with people who were very aggressive before, and so on. So new meetings. There were a lot of opportunities for new meetings. And actually, when you walk in the house, you can almost feel that it is a calmer atmosphere in it. We also have people eating breakfast nowadays like 3 times, because they start at the on ward, and then they go down to the other ones, and then they go on to another ones, which we think is really, really good. We think that is really, really good. So that was the, and we're still working on it. Yes. Does anyone have any questions?